The shipping and receiving department, the lifeblood of the metal finishing business. This is where it all begins, as the product comes in and is then prepared and pumped through the veins of processing, only to return directly to the source, to start the cycle all over again. It is a well-oiled machine of industry. Oh, look, here's Jimmy, one of our hard-working employees.
But how does it all work?
How does what all work?
Well, with all the different styles and materials of parts, how do they properly know how to handle and ship those parts?
Now that's a good question, Jimmy. Parts come in a variety of conditions, materials, shapes, and sizes. So knowing the best and proper way to ship each part is a strongly held debate, and holds no truly definitive answer. Our best resource to turn to is the customer themselves. Luckily, we were able to catch up to some of our customers. Let's listen to what they have to say. Now it's time for another edition of Words from Our Partners.
So, cost, quality, and delivery are all the base requirements that are out there for every supplier, for us to our customers. What we really like about metal finishing is the overall trust factor, as I'll call it. The ability for us to be able to rely on metal finishing to help work through difficulties, work through problems. And there's a very positive attitude, wanting to work to help us grow, to help you guys grow as well. And that has made a huge difference in that relationship. So it's more of a personal relationship with company to company rather than a business transaction. And that makes all the difference in the world.
Time. The great cosmic metronome. We cannot explain it, but it exists. And our world is ever dependent upon this measurement. So here is David May from Trinity Aero to speak on the importance of on-time delivery. Words from our partners.
We rely on them, like metal finishing, to help us support our customers. And as they say, the line never stops. It continues to move whether they've got the right parts or not. And the pressure becomes very intense when you've got a 737 airplane part that's, not where it's supposed to be at the right time. So we rely very heavily on metal finishing to help us be successful.
What we do in shipping and receiving is incredibly important to our customers' success. We are the last stop before their parts are sent to their end customer. Our efficiency will make or break their on-time delivery. We are the lifeblood of the processing line. The more observant and alert we are to the details when first receiving parts will determine the flow of those parts through the processing. So let's walk through the procedure step by step. Do you have a paper and pen? Because there's a lot to this, and I would hate for you to get confused. No? Just gonna wing it? Daredevil, I respect that. Now let's see how good you really are. When you receive a purchase order, or PO, you need to immediately perform an inspection of the parts in question and make sure that all the information on the PO matches the parts that you received, quantity and condition, or state of the parts. Make sure they are in good condition and were not damaged before we receive them. Also, make sure to count the parts before sending them on into processing. Part count is one of the most important jobs that we do in shipping and receiving. After making sure that the parts on the PO matches the written amount in that order, and that there are no scratches or dents on the parts. Wait, what? The PO lists the improper amount of parts? Well, you need to document the amount of parts that you received. And contact the company's customer service representative and let them know. Now record the size of the parts in inches, length, width, and height, and document that in the system. Now attach a traceability sticker known as the RFID tag on the parts container, and then add another RFID tag to the PO. Now you're ready to take a digital photo of the part and upload it into the system. Make sure you rename the photo with the proper part number in the name. Also, make sure that you remove old tags and traceability stickers, and mark out incorrect customer names on the containers. If there is any discrepancy with the quantity of parts received, or the parts were scratched or damaged before you received them, a non-conformance report should be generated. Set the parts aside and contact the customer to let them know. Point to note, this is one of the bigger issues for us as a company. Here is Heath from CE Machine to emphasize this point.
Words from our partners.
What happens a lot of time with part counts is we'll receive our order from metal finishing and we may be 5 short or even 1 short for that matter. So actually of the counting is very important before the processing and after. Before the processing, mainly because if you receive the incorrect quantity physically versus the paperwork, we'll want to know ahead of time, not halfway through the process of the parts. That way we can go back here in the back and look for the parts, because when we hear that, hey, at Operation 2, we found we were 5 parts short, well, we would assume metal finishing probably lost those from the point of receiving them to the second process. So that's something that we'd like to be informed of earlier.
Oftentimes we're afraid of bad news, but our philosophy is if we've got bad news, share it as soon as possible. The quicker that you share information, the more time you have to be able to react to it and mitigate its impact on production line. So don't be afraid of sharing information or bad news, because our customers are judging us based upon our performance, which means if we have parts that are late, if we have parts that are wrong or mixed up, and we're not able to make our commitments because of those things, it has an impact on how our customers view us and our ability to be able to grow and our livelihood and our ability to be able to support our families, when it's really what it comes down to. So our processing partner is incredibly important to us.
Now that our parts are done and ready to ship back to the customer, it becomes once again shipping and receiving's responsibility to perfectly execute and get the parts back home safe. So how do we do that properly? Well, the PO is there to tell us just that. Here is one of our customers to speak on this topic.
Words from our partners.
The main thing that comes to mind is packaging per the PO instructions. Many times we'll specify the parts are to be foam wrapped individually, and that's not happening. The reason we put that on the PO is most of these parts, if that's a requirement, is because they're a critical part. And the customer has frozen planning. They're telling us what to put on it. We don't put the requirements on the purchase orders and make it more difficult for you guys. It's what the customer's asking. So when it says they need to be individually wrapped in foam, that's what we need to have back. We've had times where we've actually had customers here and saw that they weren't, and that becomes a big issue and goes into VRs and different things that cost time and money for QA. So that's the main thing I've seen that we've had trouble with, is packaging per the PO.
As you can see right here, the PO is the final say on packaging. Every part is different, and every part requires a different process of packaging to protect the part. Go to the PO and see what is specified and detailed out for packaging. If it is not specifically written, use the best procedure to properly protect the parts from damage during transit. If you have questions or concerns on how to package these parts, ask your colleague or supervisor to help. These parts are our reputation, and we want to deliver the best to our customers and keep them coming back for years to come. You see that? This man is the purest picture of what a metal moving, shipping, and receiving guru was meant to be. So remember these steps to be the best and most efficient president of packaging you can be. And if you have any questions, please ask your supervisor. Thank you for watching.